Hey, what's up, guys? This is Kisune from PlusEV PokerStrategy.com. Today, I want to talk about creating positive EV habits. You know, I've read like a lot of books on successful people and some self-help books, and often people say that what separates a person that's successful and the rest of the people is that this person have different habits than everyone else. Basically, he does things that no one else do, and it's the same as a poker player. You want to create habits that creates you money, that brings you money in the long run. A habit is basically a recurrent, often unconscious pattern of behavior that is acquired through frequent repetition. What this means is that you can create a habit by first consciously repeating a pattern until it becomes an unconscious behavior. For example, if you first stumble upon poker, you might not know like anything about how to play poker, and you might be limping in all your hand. You might not raise pre-flop, and there's a lot of players like that. When they first discover the game of poker, they end up limping with everything. But after you read some poker books, you watch some coaching videos, or your friend coach you on poker, you realize that raising a small plus EV. And after doing it a while, it becomes unconscious behavior. You'll be raising it with every hand until you become an unconscious behavior. It won't make sense to you to limp anymore after that. As a poker player, I think there's what I call the off-table and the on-table habits. Off-table habits are basically habits that you can create for yourself when you're not grinding. Exercise and eating healthily, and also getting enough sleep. These are the three habits that involve your physical body. What you have to understand that is your physical body and your mind is connected, and poker is a game that requires a lot of intellect and focus. And when your body is very tired, or your body is not healthy, or feeling like crap, it will affect your focus. And you don't want that to happen. You want to be at the top of your game every single time you sit on the tables. And that's why it's important to have a schedule for exercise, eat healthily, especially before a grinding session. You don't want to be eating a lot of carbs, because your body will be processing it and you'll be really tired. Study. I just recently wrote an article about the 10 things you can do to improve as a poker player. You can read the article into to learn how to study or what to study. Personally, I use a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 2 hours I play, I spend 1 hour studying, and I think everyone needs a ratio. Whether it's 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, whatever. Depending on the amount of time you have in a day, and how advanced you are, and how fast you want to move up the stakes or improve. The fifth I want to talk about is proper bankroll management. Besides the mental game and poker strategy, bankroll management is probably one of the most important skills as a poker player you can have, or what I would call money management in general. I've also written an article about how not to get broke as a poker player. You can check out on my website. And the last thing I want to talk about is analyzing your performance. When I say analyze your performance, is different from studying. Is because analyzing your performance is just going through hand history. I actually go through every single hand, or at least almost 80% of the hands. I won't go through the hands that are really small pots. I won't go through that, but I go through most of my hands every single day. I schedule a time for it, and I go through my hands. And what I advise you guys to do is, when you go through your hands, find for all the mistakes that you make, write it down, and ensure you don't do it again. And you can write every single thing that you have done really well. Say you managed to exploit a player certain ways, the condition or fits the criteria to exploit the player, and you didn't. You might write it down and try to find for more spots that are similar to exploit your opponent. The other habits I want to talk about is on table habits. Asking questions. This is a thing. This is a very common thing, yet basic, but I still struggle with it on a day-to-day basis. Is to constantly ask questions while I'm playing. A lot of people get into the habit of playing like a robot, or yeah, just playing automatically clicking buttons. That's what I call it. But I just play like anywhere from 6 to 9 tables, so I still find myself asking questions, but not as often. I play a lot with instinct, but I think in general you should be asking yourself questions every single time you're in a hand. Asking a question about your opponent's range, what would he do with different part of his range, and how would he react to a raise, and stuff like that. And two very important things I'll talk about is timing your session and limiting your tables, because this basically affects your focus that you can have while you're playing poker. The more table you play, the less focused you are, and with the more table you play, the more hands you see per second or per hour, which means you get more tired faster and your focus decrease faster. So everybody have a sweet spot for how many tables you should be playing and how long a session should be. I personally play 2 hours per session, and I play more than one session a day, and I play 6 to 9 tables, as I said before. Of course, you can work on improving this, by I believe it was Dusty Smith that said in Treat Your Poker Like a Business, that gives the idea of increasing the amount of hours you play every day. Say if your normal session is 2 hours, once you get really comfortable with it, you add 10 minutes to it. Once you get comfortable with it, you add 20 minutes into it. The same thing with your tables. Another good habit to have is removing distraction. When I talk about meta game on my blog, I talk about being focused when you play poker, and that's one of the main thing about playing your A game is to be focused. Besides the tilt side of the meta game, is to stay focused, and you should remove all your distraction. Close all your IMs, your Skype, your MSN, close your browser, close your Facebook, silent your phone or off your phone, but do not disturb sign on the door, whatever it takes. Remove the distractions. Taking notes, not talking notes. You should always take notes. Every single showdown, I actually record every single showdown. You should create a system for yourself to make it easy to understand the notes that you take, and easy to use it to exploit your opponents. If you find yourself not having time to take notes, or not having time to use the notes that you have taken, you're probably playing too many tables. PokerStrategy Habits. This is basically part of a on table habits that you can create for yourself, but it's more focused on strategy. And I just give you a few examples. Is playing position. Everyone knows playing position is more profitable than playing out of position. So whenever you are faced with a decision of calling, pre-flop, ask yourself, are you in position or are you out of position? It's a simple question. Strong range. What I mean by strong range is range is dominating your opponents. Especially when you're playing out position, you want a range that dominate your opponents. When you hit top pair, you want to be able to at least get 2 streets of value or 3 streets of value from a weaker top pair. Randomization by equity, this is like frequently talked about. Basically is when you c-bet, you want to c-bet when you have some equity in a hand, like overcards or backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draws, and and whatnot. I know sometimes it can be really tempting to just c-bet any flop versus opponents, but I think that's just terrible. I still see regular c-betting 80% nowadays, which I think is just really exploitable. So yeah, if you don't do this, you have to c-bet by randomization by equity. taking the dead money when no one wants it. This is something that I realized, especially in multi-way pots. I get it that in multi-way pots you want a stronger hand where you want to be betting for value, but if it's four-way pot and it gets checked through once or twice, just bluff at it. Take down the dead money. Nobody wants it. Claim it for yourself. I see like very ridiculous hands getting the showdown, and so many times that someone can actually win the pot by just betting like a half pot, but nobody does it. I don't know what they're afraid of. Yeah, so in conclusion, every PlusEV habit that you create will give you an edge versus your opponent, will increase your win rate in the long run. So what you want to be doing is, you want to start creating habits today, PlusEV habits today. Repeat them until they become an unconscious behavior. Just work on one habit, just repeat it consciously every single time you're playing poker, on table or off table, until you become an unconscious behavior. For stuff like exercising and studying, create a schedule for your day. Sorry, I have a schedule for my day and I try to follow it to the dot. Of course my schedule is flexible. You should make your schedule work for you, and you don't work for your schedule. That's the good thing about being a poker player. But you still want to have a schedule, and you want to know how many hours you should be studying a day, how many hours you should be exercising a week, and stuff like that. Work on one habit. Work on one thing until it becomes a habit, and after it becomes a habit, work on another one. I want to thank you for watching this short video about creating PlusEV habits. If you're watching this on YouTube, please visit my blog at PlusEVPokerStrategy.com. If you are watching this in my blog, please share this on Twitter or Facebook with your friends if you like it. The like buttons and the share buttons on the left side of the page. You also can follow PlusEV PokerStrategy on Twitter and Facebook, and the link is at the right side of the page. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Bye.